The awkward inner ski syndrome is the most common hurdle that people struggle with when trying to learn to parallel ski.
You want to make a parallel turn, but the inner ski gets stuck in an uncomfortable snowplough. It often gets caught on the edge, like this, and it's often mostly at the tail of the ski.
Not only is this frustrating for the learner, but it's also pretty frustrating for us instructors, and I have spent hundreds of hours helping people to try to overcome this exact specific problem.
The good news is that I can explain how to fix this. So if you want to be able to parallel turn and have ever struggled with the awkward inner ski, I'm going to show you how to fix it so that you can have way more fun in the mountains. My name's George and I'm here in the stunning ski area of Avoriaz. I've worked 10 years as a ski instructor in Japan, New Zealand and Norway, but I've chosen to stay in this part of the Alps because this place ticks more boxes than anywhere else I've been. If you wish to learn to parallel ski, choosing the right place to do so can give you a massive advantage. What you're looking for is a steady progression of blue runs that starts easy and gets gradually steeper without any big jumps in difficulty. If ever you can make it here, Proclus, Ceresay, Linderé, the Stad and Ara make for the ideal progression of blue runs, but aside from the terrain and the slopes that you choose, let's talk about the techniques. Okay, so there are 4 main reasons for the awkward inner ski syndrome. Number 1, too much body weight on the inner ski. Number 2, the ski is tilted onto the wrong edge. Number 3, leaning back. And number 4, turning too much with the upper body and hips. Number 1, too much body weight on the inner ski. The biggest reason the inner ski gets stuck in a snowplow is because the skier hasn't taken the body weight off the inner leg. It's instinctive to lean the way you want to turn, but doing so puts too much weight on the inner ski and blocks you from being able to parallel turn.
So if you want to overcome the awkward inner ski syndrome, you need to make sure that you can take your body weight off that leg.
Balance on the outer ski. Take your body weight off the inner ski and bringing it into parallel will be much easier. The best way to learn this is to lift the inner ski and practice balancing on one leg. First, do so while standing still. Then, try lifting one ski just in little lifts whilst sliding down or traversing along a gentle slope. Then, if you're up for the challenge, have a go at lifting your inner ski when turning. This is my favorite exercise for teaching parallel skiing, and we will cover it in more detail in other videos.
The second common reason for the awkward inner ski syndrome is that ski gets tilted on the wrong edge. Once that ski is tilted onto the inner edge, it will get stuck there. So you need to think about which way the ski is tilting. Now, we give the edges names to help learners understand. We've got the big toe edge, which is closest to your big toe, and we've got the little toe edge, which is closest to your little toe.
When making a snowplow, we tilt both skis inwards onto the big toe edges. In parallel skiing, we need to tilt both skis in the same direction. The big toe edge of the outer ski and the little toe edge of the inner ski.
So in order to cure your awkward inner ski syndrome, we first need to flatten that ski, get it off the big toe edge, and that will allow us to smear it in, bring it into parallel, and ideally even get it slightly tilted onto the little toe edge.
The best way to practice this is simply to practice side slipping. So here is a quick lesson on side slipping that beginner skiers must tackle in order to make parallel turns.
So a mega important skill for beginner and intermediate skiers to get to grips with is side slipping. Not only is this a safe and slow way to get down if ever you're in tricky situations, but also tilting both skis in the same direction and scraping the edges across the snow is going to help you to crack your parallel turns. Now, practicing your side slipping at first is going to be pretty frustrating and awkward and kind of scary, but stick with it because the time you spend on this is going to really accelerate your learning curve through beginner to parallel skiing. So to practice side slipping, you do need a bit of gradient to the slope. If it's flat, it's actually really difficult. So you want something that's a little bit steeper. You're going to be tempted to put your poles in the snow. I've only got one because the camera's on the other, but you're going to be really tempted to put your poles in the snow, but try not to, because if you slide one ski into your pole, then it's going to trip you up and you'll go down. So keep your poles out of the way, put your balance and your body weight on the bottom ski. And then when you want to slide, you're going to just flatten the skis a little bit. And then when you want to stop, you're going to lean them both in the same direction. It's the most common mistake when you're learning to side slip is this top ski is going to try and go into a snowplow, but do not let it. Make sure both skis are tilting in the same direction. Flatten the skis slightly and then slide, and then both skis in the same direction when you want to stop. Now practice this because it's a super important skill and it will help you to parallel turn. Now the third common reason for the awkward inner ski syndrome is leaning back. It is natural for humans to lean back when learning to ski. Just as if you were standing on a rug and I was to pull it from under your feet, you'd fall backwards. It's the same thing when learning to slide around on these new leg extension planks that we've attached to the ends of our feet. It is natural to lean backwards.
The giveaway here is that the awkward inner ski most often gets caught at the tail. It's way easier to make parallel turns if your weight is perpendicular to the skis, so you can pivot them from your feet.
So if you want to be able to learn how to parallel ski, then push your shins forwards into the fronts of the boots, keep your hands in front of you, and don't lean back. And the fourth common reason for the awkward inner ski syndrome is trying to turn too much with the upper body and the hips.
The key here is in the order you make the movements. If you lead the turn and rotate first with the upper body, the inner ski is more likely to get caught back in that awkward snowplow position. Instead, we want to steer first with the skis and legs, and only then turn with the upper body afterwards. Think of the skis like arrows. Point them left and right to turn them, and do so by pointing your feet and rotating your legs, not by steering with your upper body. So try to lead the turn by pointing your skis instead of leading the turn by pointing your torso.
So there you have it, the four main causes and fixes to the most common problem that people struggle with when learning to parallel ski. I hope it was useful and I wish you good times on skis.